Good morning, everyone. It's great to have you. Happy Saturday. My name is Sonia Reyes, and I lead the Office of Latino Affairs, which is under the Iowa Department of Human Rights. And I am honored this morning to welcome all of you to the 5th Annual Iowa Latino Hall of Fame induction ceremony. It is a little bit different now because we are doing it virtually, but we are very, very excited to be honoring all of you that are here today. I am privileged to work with the Iowa Commission of Latino Affairs, which was originally established by Governor Robert D. Ray as the Spanish-speaking task force in 1974. Now the commission is under the Iowa Department of Human Rights, and it has been for many years now. And with the goal of celebrating Latino heritage, to honor Latinos that have done outstanding work and advocacy in the state, the commission established the Iowa Latino Hall of Fame in 2017. And this year we have the pleasure of inducting 6 incredible and inspiring Latinos into the Hall of Fame, including the recipients of the Iowa Latinx Leadership Award, the Iowa LGBTQIA Leadership Award, and the Robert D. Ray Award for Equity and Justice. I have the pleasure to introduce you to Caleb Knudsen, the chair of our commission.
Good day, everyone. It's a really exciting day, and I have the pleasure to announce the first inductee for the 2020 Iowa Latino Hall of Fame. Elizabeth Bernal was born in Mexico. She has called Iowa City home for the past 17 years, where she has raised 5 children. She has attained many of her personal accomplishments, including completing her GED, receiving her U.S. citizenship in 2017, and being involved with several community organizations that promote inclusion and the well-being of immigrant communities in Iowa. She has made Iowa City the place to empower, welcome, and uplift Latino and immigrant communities. Bernal is the founding member of the Prairie Freedom Fund, or the PFF, formerly known as Eastern Iowa Community Bond Project. The PFF was founded in 2016 as the only independent immigration bond fund in the country. The PFF is a local community organization paying immigration bonds for detained immigrants who cannot afford their immigration bond. The organization has helped pay over $425,000 in immigration bonds to free more than 80 people from immigration detention, reuniting them with their families and supporting them with the resources needed to get back on their feet within their communities. Through this work, the PFF partnered with the University of Iowa Law School to create the Know Your Rights presentation, which Ms. Bernal has presented to local churches and community organizations. Her work in support of this project reflects her unwavering commitment to the Latino communities. She also serves on the board of directors for the Center for Worker Justice in Eastern Iowa and the Catherine McCallie Center in Cedar Rapids. The latter offers hope and opportunity through education and support services to promote stability, skill building, and connections such as women's services for women healing from trauma, educational services for adult learners, and refugee and immigrant services. She works as the cultural liaison for the Iowa City Community School District, advocating and making connections with Latino families in the district. She also works cleaning the local domestic violence shelter. She is the founding member of Open Heartland, a community organization that works for Latino community members to feel welcome in their community, especially people who are new to the area, whether that is helping them pay rent, providing food, or giving them space to feel welcome, while also providing activities for both parents and children. Her advocacy provides a space for low-income Latino and immigrant families to close the educational gap by providing them with access to internet, mentorship, and tutoring is crucial to molding and elevating Latino youth through the power of education. When she is not working, she volunteers her time with the above listed organizations working for the Latino and immigrant communities. Bernal participates in the roundtable meetings with the University of Iowa Law School, where they discuss ways to support the Latino and immigrant communities. She was awarded the Rick Graff Award for the Iowa City Human Rights Commission and received the 2020 Ovation, a tribute to Iowa women and girls. Friends, family, colleagues, I present you Elizabeth Bernal.
I thank you. Um, the first thing I want to say, just thank you to everyone who makes all these awards and everything that you guys doing in this section. That's great because that's given opportunity to the Latino community to express themselves and say, hey, this is what they're doing. And it's not only about us, it's about the community. That's the great thing. So thank you for all you who do all this possible. And also I want to say, first thing, say thank you to all the people who is in here right now, who are receiving award or recognition for something they're doing. It's really important to having those people in our community because that's how it is. We are small communities and ask each person, but we need to build those communities to get together and build more bigger. And the more bigger together, we are strong. So that's pretty much what the community have to give, and we are small part of the community. So thank you for all those who give me the opportunity for each family to let me belong and enter to their community and the family community. And thank you for all them. I'm just here, try to help them. And basically I'm not doing a big thing. I'm just trying to help surviving in this community because with the barriers that a lot of community, Latino community has in the Iowa, it's a surviving thing. So we are just here to provide as much support that we can. So, but even if they don't exist, we don't exist. So that's basically our community, the biggest. Thank you for myself. Let me be invited in their own family, open their doors for me and able to help and have experience and learn a lot in that each family that they open their, not only the doors for their houses, their hope they have something seen in their own heart that they can open in the new country that sometimes they don't trust to a lot. So, but this is kind of like amazing stuff that when people open themselves and let you help in them, sometimes we cannot do much if they don't want to help. So I really thank you for those people who've been go away with me all the time, every time that I ask for support, help, any. So those people, I was one of those persons that I need a lot in the community, and those help me all the time. They give me the support every time that I ask questions. They behind me all the time. They never look away. So thank you for all those people. Thank you to my family, who's my kids, my 5 kids that all the time with me, follow me. And it is hard, but it's but they are with me and support me. That's the more important thing that they support me. If they don't support me, I think I'm not able to do and go through all this way that I'm right now. So thank you for all those. And the people who are with me, not only because myself, it's because we worry about the community. So for all those people who make all this possible, it's actually who receiving the award. I'm receiving an honor from all the community in here in Iowa City. And the last thing, just thank you for those people, but also like I do small things, like Mother Teresa say, do small things, but with love, like big love. So that's kind of how I follow now. And it's kind of like what we're doing, changing, like small things, big things change, and with love. So, it's a lot better. Thank you so much for all your time and your passion with us.
Thank you. Thank you for all you do. And I have the pleasure and honor of introducing our second inductee for the 2021 Iowa Latino Hall of Fame is Marcela Hurtado. Marcela was born in Puebla, Mexico. She moved to Iowa when she was 16. She moved to Iowa 16 years ago and is currently raising a family in Iowa City, where she is a fierce community advocate. Marcela is the co-founder for the Center for Workers' Justice. of Eastern Iowa, or CWJ, where she serves as the elected president of the board. She leads the organization's successful campaign to raise the minimum wage in Johnson County and helped recover thousands of dollars in stolen wages. Because of her leadership at the CWJ and in her community, Latinos have had a safe place to go in the community and seek support and assistance. Marcela has helped CWJ secure multiple grants and put together programming that would directly benefit Latinos in the area. She not only helped lead the formation of CWJ in its earliest days, but she remains a figurehead in the organization since its founding in 2012. Marcela has conducted community outreach within the Latino community for nearly 10 years and has spoken about their interest in Eastern Iowa. She regularly speaks publicly at city council meetings, at the Johnson County Board of Supervisors meetings. In addition, she helped lead an interfaith outreach effort, speaking at large gatherings about the struggles and aspirations of Latinos in the area. She has demonstrated fearless leadership in speaking up about the injustice that Latinos have faced in the community throughout racist policing, poor housing conditions, low wages, wage theft, and the need to be fully integrated in the community. Marcela has also led successful campaigns to provide solutions to these issues, including the minimum wage campaign, the community ID campaign, and the housing campaign at Forest View Trailer Park. To have a voice with the city to redevelop their community, she has put together dozens of adult education workshops, from Know Your Rights to Work to legal clinics to assist immigration. In addition, she has joined multiple steering committees to advocate for women, her children, and her neighbors. Recently, Marcela co-founded a collective for immigrant women to launch their businesses in Iowa City and is a proud LULAC member. During the pandemic, Marcela utilized her extensive network to inform the community of services such as COVID-19 vaccines. She also connected communities to access to food and other essential services following the compound crisis of the pandemic and the derecho storm. She has made positive impact in her community, from improving housing, health access to healthy foods, increasing education support, children, redistributing stimulus checks, to immigrants, and co-founding an organization aimed to help immigrants become entrepreneurs. She has recruited dozens of people to join the CWJ and to get civically engaged in the community, from Iowa City to Coralville and beyond. The immigration community knows Marcela is a leading voice and a pillar in the Latino and immigrant community. Friends, family, colleagues, Marcela.
Pues thank you, everybody. Thank you for this opportunity. I received this recognized. Thank you. First, I want to thank God for his love, and that by his mercy, we are still standing. I thanks to my family, my husband, my children, Joshua, Mary, Jeremiah. Thank you for giving me your time to do well I like. To all my friends, my community, this award or this recognized is for yours, not only me. Only God blesses you. Thank you.
Muchas felicidades, Marcela. Congratulations, and thank you for everything that you do. It is my pleasure to present Guadalupe Sanchez with the Mexican Consulate in Omaha, Nebraska, and she will introduce our next recipient.
Thank you very much. It is my privilege to announce the third inductee for the 2021 Iowa Latino Hall of Fame, Dr. Lorenzo Jasso. Dr. Lorenzo Jasso was born in 1953, and he moved to Iowa in the 1970s. He pursued his doctorate in education at Drake University, becoming one of the first Latino school principals in the Des Moines School District. Dr. Jasso's enduring contributions to the Latino community impacted children, youth, as well as adults and elders. He was a mentor to many. When asked for his advice, you got a clear-eyed perspective delivered with a typical Mexican wit plus a bit of optimism. His enduring he's enduring, His enduring contributions to the Latino community, as I said, impacted children, youth, as well as adults and elders. He was a mentor to many. When asked for his advice, you got a clear-eyed perspective delivered with a typical Mexican way, plus a bit of optimism. His enduring and tireless efforts ensured that low-income Latinos and Latino migrant workers, as well as other immigrants, would have an equal footing to attain access to education. He encouraged and inspired many to pursue a higher education. As an educator, his philosophy was to foster partnerships between staff, families of the students at the school, and other decision makers, both from local and state government. Knowing that about 40% of his students' main nutrition was provided by the school kitchen, he made sure to provide breakfast and lunch to children from low-income families. He pursued relentlessly grants and additional funds to offer every opportunity he could to reduce dropout rates, hire qualified staff, and provided after-school programs and social services, both for students and their parents or guardians. He raised awareness about the plight of newcomers, now known as ELL students, hiring bilingual staff at every opportunity he could, and making sure that all staff members would be good role models for these students. As principal of McKinley Elementary School, he encouraged his staff to go to the extra mile and spend time on providing extracurricular activities and be part of the daily life as well as special events of McKinley students. As the great flood of 1993 affected McKinley's area and the families he served, Dr. Jasso made sure that all the affected families would get access to emergency services, including those who were primarily Spanish speakers. His fully bilingual staff made translations of numerous documents from FEMA, the Department of Human Services, and the Red Cross, as well as local associations and others. Dr. Jasso made home visits to ensure everyone knew how to avoid getting illnesses related to the flood. He also spearheaded a drive to get donations of goods, clothes, and school supplies for the families who lost it all or had to seek refuge elsewhere. Dr. Jasso served as a board member of the former United Mexican American Community Center. He transformed this entity into what is now Hispanic to make space to provide access to healthcare to low-income families. He saw the needs of the local community and he understood the limitations he faced. He partnered with local healthcare providers, and through his subtle, almost imperceptible maneuvering, he turned a small closet into a fully dedicated wing of the care facility with multiple patient examination rooms. The initial closet-sized room was created to get prenatal and other important healthcare for impoverished families. This space eventually grew and became what is now known as the Clinic of Hope, or Clínica de la Esperanza, which continues to serve the Latino community in central Iowa today. Countless children and women benefited from his vision to overcome barriers that would have impeded their academic success, such as ensuring they would have access to glasses, medications, or the health care they needed to thrive. Dr. Lorenzo Jasso served in numerous boards and volunteered his time generously and tirelessly, not only in the areas of education, healthcare, political involvement, parental empowerment, and academic excellence, but also leading by example. He served in the Des Moines City Council, the United Way of Central Iowa Investment Committee, the Des Moines Community Block Grant Development Advisory Committee, and others. Dr. Jasso worked as the executive director for the Migrant Action Program, serving the educational needs of migrant workers and their families in the state. He was a co-founder of the first Latino PAC in Iowa, Hispanics Political Action Committee. In his political activism, he sought to stop and later to reverse the impacts of the English-only law to make driver's license available on a non-discriminatory basis and was an early continued supporter of an Iowa Dream Act. There are countless people who can and continue to write and speak about Dr. Jasso's credentials, activism, and legacy supporting the Latino community. Friends, family, and colleagues to accept the award, Erika Mendez, one of Dr. Jasso's many mentees.
Buenos días. Perdón. Ahorita que estaba escuchando todo lo que se estaba diciendo de Dr. Jasso, no pensé que me iba a poner tan emocional. Era una persona, wow, muy importante. I would have to say que todo el personal que tuvimos el privilegio de trabajar con él, estábamos muy contentos, siempre nos apoyó, era una persona muy familiar, hablaba mucho de sus nietos, they were the world to him, his grandchildren, y siempre nos decía, si te vas a quejar, entonces haz algo, porque si no, no te quejes. Siempre nos decía that we had to go out there and we had to join all these committees, and I know he got me to join several committees that I was like, oh, I don't want to join, but he pushed me and I did, and he pushed a lot of other people. And I know there's a lot of people that came out of McKinley that, he pushed to get higher education. Education was everything to him. He would always say, you got to get educated. You got to go get educated. That was very important to him. He was very kind. He's missed a lot. We get together, some people, and when we do talk, we talk about him, and we miss him. It was a great loss to everybody. But, he's remembered, so he did a lot, and we're very thankful, and we could only aspire to be part of so many committees and push, our community to, get higher education and do better. So I am honored to accept this in his name. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Erika. I had the pleasure of him being the principal of McKinley when my children were students there. So I had the privilege to meet him, and also I used to have many clients that used to go to obtain free health care from a Clínica de la Esperanza that he started. So his legacy continues to give to so many. Thank you. Thank you for accepting the award on his behalf. And his family did let us know that they were very proud and they were very moved by this award. They just were not able to make it to today's ceremony. So thank you, Erika, for accepting it on his behalf. Right, for our next honoree, I have the pleasure to introduce Ingeniero Federico Guerrero from the Salvadoran Consulate in Chicago, Illinois.
Good morning, everybody. I am elated to announce the 2020 Iowa Latinx Leadership Award recipient. This award sprouted from the Commission's goal to uplift our Latino and Latinx youth, Latin youth. The Iowa Latinx Leadership Award is awarded to an Iowa Latinx youth or young adult that is making a difference in their community. This day is very special for all of us Salvadorians. With great pride, we are gathering to be part of the Iowa Latinx Leadership Awards. Thank you for inviting me for this special event. The 2021 Iowa Latinx Leadership Award recipient is Nixson Benítez. Nixson Benítez was born and raised in Des Moines in a Salvadorian immigrant household. He is a junior at the University of Northern Iowa, majoring in digital media journalism with a cumulative GPA of 3.77. He is a first-generation college student striving to uplift his community in all that he's involved in. And I had the pleasure to meet him a couple of weeks ago when I was in Des Moines. In these minutes, I want to emphasize that the government of President Bukele recognizes also the role of our diaspora, which plays in the social and cultural processes on this nation. The contribution that our Salvadoran community makes to the United States is invaluable, which is why our administration confers a high value to the vindication of their rights as Salvadorians in the US. Benítez is opening doors and creating spaces for Latino writers. He does this by fighting stereotypes that Latinos endure through storytelling and facts-based information. He also does this through representation. He believes that Salvadorians do not see themselves represented in many occupations, including writing. This encourages him to work to inspire others in the community as a young person showcasing his roots. As a first-generation college student, Benítez has stepped into spaces that he was not welcome in, or where there was no previous Latino or Salvadorian representation. He carries his identity in front and center while uplifting other people of color. He started the process to start a National Association of Black Journalists chapter at the university and continued to uplift Black, Indigenous, and other rights of color. Benítez created a Spanish column in the university newspaper called Northern Iowa en Español. His column is the only Spanish column in a college newspaper in the state of Iowa. This platform is tailored to Spanish readers and is engaged other Latino writers on campus. The column is the first time that Spanish readers have information of opportunities at UNI in their native language. The column showcases the needs of the Latino community and it uplifts the Latino and Latinx identities, where Latino immigrants come from and where they are going. Because of his work, he will be serving as the executive editor of the Northern Iowan for the period of 2021 until 2022, a role traditionally held by white students. Mr. Benítez is an inspiration to other Latino students. He is well on his way to be one of the first Latino writers in charge of a university newspaper in the history of Iowa. Benítez is active in the community. This summer, he is the arts and culture editor and TikTok reporter for Hola, Iowa. In this role, he established a platform on TikTok to engage Latino youth and bring news directly to them. He works tirelessly to ensure Latino youth are informed about current events. As an AmeriCorps youth specialist at the Iowa Department of Human Rights, he was chosen to lead a youth justice council for youth who are involved in the juvenile justice system. This platform gives youth a voice and the support to bring systemic changes and end youth returning to detention centers. Mr. Benítez's leadership was recognized with the Governor's Volunteer Award, Mentor of the Year Award, Servant Leader Award, and the Diversity Matters Award. There is no doubt that this list will continue to grow as Mr. Benítez will continue uplifting the stories of the Latino communities and as he becomes a well-known Latino Salvadorian reporter in Iowa. I can assure we hope to fulfill a Salvadorian the desire for a truly and sovereign El Salvador. And Nixon's contribution is an example of this new breed of committed and free Salvadorians in the US. The government of President Bukele has a strong commitment to our diaspora, who we consider our partners of development. And as I said at the beginning, they are also protagonists of a new story of El Salvador in the US. These words are worth to acknowledge and congratulate Nixson Benítez for being a worthy representative of his generation and of El Salvador in the US. Congratulations, Nixon, and move on.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. And thank you, Des Moines. Thank you, UNI. And thank you, everyone in the community, for really, truly helping me and uplifting me to where I'm at today. I couldn't have done this alone. And I honestly, truly say this is an award for everyone. As someone, an alumni from McKinley Elementary, who attended McKinley Elementary throughout my time, as well as an alumni from Weeks Middle School all the way to Lincoln High School, and currently attending the University of Northern Iowa for a digital media journalism major in interactive digital studies. But in 2 words, technology and writing. As a storyteller, I do have a story and have formed a story around the name Nixson Benítez. Nixson Benítez is a name that is very unheard of, and not a lot of people recognize it in many spaces. And the name Nixson Benítez will not only go into Hall of Fame, but actually carries a far more deeper meaning in my family history. During the time when my family was in Berlin, Usulután, El Salvador, the name Nixson actually was given, that name was given by mi bisabuela to her first grandson, Nixson Benítez. And during the time, he was the first person to carry the name of the family. My mom was the oldest sister of the 3, and Theo Nixson was one of the youngest 3 siblings. Theo Nixon, since he was born, always struggled breathing due to his asthma. When he was growing up in the streets, my mom said he was actually pretty similar to me, where he would ask questions, get curious about the world and the things that revolve him. He would enjoy going to school and enjoy the idea of discovering the world and the way things work. The one thing he truly enjoyed was helping his community by picking up trash, by going around, telling people that, hey, do you need any help with anything? By asking his neighbor. Theo Nixon would be the one to raise his hand and to step forward in the classroom to write on the whiteboard or on the chalkboard, and be the one to take the extra step on learning about how things work in the world. And he would help his classmates, neighbors, and would wonder more about his education, even with limited resources. He managed to continue beating the odds during the time, but most of the time would get pulled out of school and never complete his education because my family was too poor. Everyone needed to work during the time in order to live, including my mom. A couple of years later, my Theo had been admitted into the hospital for a couple of weeks. As doctors and many members of the community who had been impacted by him, they would try to find a way to cure him, to find out what ways can we bring him as he was struggling to breathe. The doctors worked their best to help my Theo out. But days later, doctors told my family that my Theo would have no chance and that he would have a couple more days to live before he passed away. My mom went to the hospital the last time to go see her brother, my Theo. And when my mom was at the hospital, she was crying. She was crying a lot. She was struggling to have a conversation. But the one thing my Theo always had was a smile on his face. He had a smile as he was telling my mom, her sister, that it would be okay. And mi Theo smiled and told her that it would be okay and that he will always have a presence. He then reached out to my mom and said, and privately in the room, that to pass down the name Nixson, as Nixson is defined as community, as defined as someone who helps out in the community in various and varieties of ways. As my mom was crying, she took that request. And so it was on July 7th, 1999, when he passed away. That was the last conversation my mom ever had with mi Tío Nixon. 2 years later, on June 26, 2001, the name of my Tío would then be passed down to me. When my mom told doctors that she wanted to name her first son Nixson Benítez, doctors tried to communicate to her that the name was misspelled, as the name was Nixon in English, but in Spanish, it is Nixon. And so they tried to communicate to her that was a grammatical error. But my mom knew for a fact my name was no grammatical error at all. and that it was my uncle's legacy that was planted in the seed of my heart. When she named me Nixson, everyone in my family was happy and excited as the legacy of my tío was going to go on. I did not know about this, as my mom told me the story when we was actually going to Bernal to go visit my tío's grave. And she said, I was like 6 years old during the time, by the way. And I was like kind of walking around the grave, and I see my name, and I said, Mama, es mi nombre, that's my name, And then she's like, this is the first time I had the toughest conversation with my mom, as my mom was trying to explain to me that is your tío Nixon. He not only helped out around the community, but he helped out his classmates, his teammates, and many of those who still try to get higher education. And so when she told me this story, I was sincerely shocked, because I didn't know my name was much more deeper than what I thought. But the one thing my mom told me is that he always valued education and community service. Even though he would be pulled out of school a lot due to the poverty, he would advance a lot in such little time when he was in the classroom. He was one of the smartest people in the class, and yet would help around the community even when he was in rock bottom. If my tío was here, my tío Nixon, I would like to thank him for his community service and for his impact in the community, and that I will continue where he left off and write down the stories for our ancestors and the untold stories of the community. And I carry that pride in that name through the community of Des Moines, through the community of Iowa, and through my community across the nation. I'm living my family's legacy by pursuing higher education and going to the newsroom and making sure that all voices are heard. No solo en inglés, pero en español también. So I want you to know, as today marks the day of the induction, I want the community of Des Moines and my community of Salvadorians to know this is a win for the 515 and the 503. This is a win for the community, our community, an alumni from McKinley, an alumni for Weeks. And if we, in any way, this is a win for everyone. Our community is recognized and heard, and will continue to be heard in history. And to the community, your story is important to me. And it is my duty and great honor to be the leader in the community to help amplify those voices, not only in higher education, but to let them know that they belong here. As my name, Nixson Benítez, gets inducted into the Hall of Fame, so does my tío, Nixson Benítez, as he never got the chance to pursue higher education, but I will carry his legacy with me. And so I want to thank the community, and especially Kenya Calderon, for nominating for me, as it speaks volume for my family across the nation and the world. And thank you, all Iowa and the University of Northern Iowa, for mentoring me, taking me under your wing, and helping me develop skills and continuing to mark the legacy of my family. And I want to thank everyone, colleagues, friends, family, and everyone on this call for their continuous impact in the community, and that this has truly been an empowering experience, and this will continue to be empowering as we continue to work in the community among Iowa. And as someone who did attend McKinley, someone who had their first principal be a Latino, we will continue to be the role models for the next generation. Thank you.
Congratulations, Nixon, and thank you for those very inspiring words. What's in a name, correct? We all have a story about our name. Thank you so much for sharing yours. And now to present the next two awards, it is my pleasure to introduce another fellow Salvadorian, Commissioner Luis Moreno.
Good morning, everyone. I have the privilege of introducing the Iowa LGBTQIA Leadership Award recipient. Each year, the Commission honors an LGBTQIA person of color that is leading change in the state of Iowa. Our 2021 recipient is Itzel Padrón Zuñiga. Itzel Padrón Zuñiga was born she immigrated as a teenager. She attended Iowa State University, where she majored in sociology and women and gender studies. While at ISU, she studied abroad in the Netherlands to attend Moines Summer School for PhD and MA students as one of few undergraduates. While abroad, she gained experience as a researcher. She conducted independent research for nonprofit organizations in Utrecht, Berlin, Prague, and Krakow. She was a research assistant for ISU's Department of Sociology. She became a research assistant for the Iowa Coalition for Collective Change. She also served as a volunteer sexual assault advocate. While at ISU, she received several scholarships and awards for her leadership, including the Outstanding Student Leader Award and the Undergraduate Social Action Award. After graduation, Padrón became the Violence Prevention Coordinator for Monsoon, Asian, and Pacific Islanders in Solidarity. She was elected to the National Youth Summit Planning Council, where she planned and developed her mission and vision for the Youth Summit Conference in Washington, D.C. Padrón is a skilled facilitator who uses her skills to present at conferences across the country. She has presented on Latino youth, community-based violence prevention, and mental health. She has also used these skills to teach high-set Spanish at DMAC. Last year, Padrón received a mental health program fellowship with Al Éxito, where she coordinated a statewide youth task force advocating for school policies to better serve Latino students, conducted research, and co-authored a groundbreaking report on her findings, which is used for policy advocacy today. Her work for Latino youth mental health has been critical for the advancement of students in Iowa. The findings provide crucial and unprecedented insight into how the current context in which Latinx youth live, work, and go to school affects their mental health, and what barriers prevent them from accessing mental health care services. The report found that sources of stress include the political climate, family separation, identity, gender stereotypes, sexual orientation and gender identity, family life, and financially supporting their families. They also identified barriers to care, such as family and parents, cost of care, fear, lack of support, and stigma. The recommendations of the report offer concrete strategies to improve mental health and therefore educational success. As part of her fellowship with Al Éxito, Padrón took the initiative to raise funds and lead students on a volunteer trip to Brownsville, Texas, to volunteer at a respite center for newly arrived immigrant families who are seeking asylum and staying at the center while they contacted loved ones in the United States. Padrón and the students organized and sorted clothing donations, provided items that the newly arrived immigrants needed to survive, such as clothes, shoelaces, shoes, food, and other items. She led the group as they assisted with interpretation, organizing and sorting clothing donations, delivering items, and raising funds for the families at the center. This experience exposed students to community building and organizing strategies being implemented in ways aligned with their cultural identities, and provided them a first-hand look at what new immigrants experience at the border, one they would take with them for the rest of their lives. All of Padrón's work in youth creates lasting relationships built on mutual trust and respect. Her relationship with the students gives them a trusted adult to emulate and confide in. As a youth advocate, Itzel has supported students who were pregnant, who have had difficult home lives, who needed academic support, and many more. The Latino youth in our state are lucky to have such an advocate, role model, and mentor in Itzel. Friends, family, and colleagues, the 2021 Iowa LGBTQIA Leadership Award recipient is Itzel Padrón Zuñiga.
Thank you, Luis. Thank you. Thank you so much. I just like to use my time today to thank every person who has impacted, who has shaped my life. First of all, thank you to my family for always supporting my goals. Also, they're here today. Gracias por estar aquí. Los quiero mucho. And I'm so grateful for the people who nominated me, Gabby and Olivia. They are two amazing friends and I owe them so much. They've always supported my career efforts and my political efforts. So I'm very grateful to them. I want to thank my friends who have supported me, my partner who's here, and then all the people who have taken time and dedicated to some of the causes I've been involved in. So thank you so much. And thank you to the Office of Latino Affairs and the commissioners. Thank you all for commemorating the achievements of the Latino community in Iowa. And then to create the space for us and our loved ones to celebrate. Sonia, thank you so much. You are always the #1 person to be so supportive of our community and to want to honor us and want to put us, give us a platform. So thank you so much. And congratulations to all the other honorees. I wish we could meet in person, but I'm very grateful to be here virtually. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Itzel. We really appreciate you for taking the time to be here today and also for the impact you have in the state. Our next award will be the Robert D. Ray Award for Equity and Justice. This was inspired by people all over Iowa that use their platforms to uplift people and in and outside of their community. Originally, the Iowa Latino Ambassador Award for Equity and Justice recognizes and honors the efforts and accomplishments of non-Latino and Latino Iowans whose work is deemed outstanding as a significant contribution to the equity and justice for Iowa's new immigrant population. The first and only recipient of the Iowa Latino Ambassador Award for Equity and Justice was Governor Robert D. Ray himself. The award was renamed as the Robert D. Ray Award for Equity and Justice, and this year's recipient is Juan Manuel Gálvez Ibarra. Juan Manuel Gálvez Ibarra, known in the community as Manny Gálvez, was born in Zahuato, Michoacán, Mexico. He earned a bachelor's degree in political science and a master's degree in regional studies. Manny worked in the Mexican capital government and the Mexican federal government. As a cultural program coordinator in Mexico City, he developed and implemented popular budget and policy strategies in which people and civil organizations decided where, when, and how to spend part of the public budget. After moving to Iowa in 2003, he spent over a year serving the community at the Catholic Worker House in Des Moines. In 2005, he worked as the Community Resources Coordinator for the Raíces project at the University of Iowa, and as the coordinator of the Iowa Radio project conducted by the University of Iowa School of Public Health to reduce unintended pregnancies among Latinas in Iowa. Manny is one of the few Latino press individuals in the state as the owner of El Truque Iowa, a Latino magazine launched in 2006. Through the magazine and social media, Manny gave spaces to Latino writers, reporters, activists, and multimedia specialists to develop and showcase their skills. He inspires Latino youth to become reporters and to question what is occurring by never staying quiet when they witness injustice. During the Iowa caucuses and local elections, he elevated Latino policy priorities. He interviewed candidates and organized candidate forums to highlight the importance of the Latino vote and the array of issues that Latino voters are interested in. He's also the founder of Iowa City Latino Festival, started in 2012. Through the festival, he strives to make Iowa City community one that is diverse, inclusive, and equitable to all its residents. The festival produces an opportunity for the Latino community to celebrate their many cultures and for the Iowa City community to learn about Latinos through traditional foods, authentic music, regional art, and small business. He collaborates with many organizations and businesses to plan the Iowa City Latino Festival, but also with neighboring towns, including Washington and West Liberty, to establish their own Latino festivals. Through these partnerships, he encourages other Latinos to celebrate their cultures and their pride in being Iowanos, Latinos and Iowans. Additionally, he provides graphic design, web page development, and advertising services via his business, Gálvez and Huber Services. Manny works hard to provide access to the Latino community. From access to information or to resources, he always demonstrates that he understands the needs of Latinos in the state. During the COVID-19 pandemic, he partnered with the University of Iowa College of Public Health to produce a series of videos in Spanish with COVID-19 information for Iowa Latino communities. The videos were distributed in many ways, the most influential being through social media. He's adaptable and has changed the ways of providing access to information into the Latino community as it was needed at the time. He started with a physical newspaper, later went digital, and maximized his skills, resources, and reach by social media with over 30,000 followers. Through access and advocacy, he provides information and educational materials for Latinos. He advocates for workers' rights, challenges local and national elected officials on anti-immigration rhetoric and legislation, and supports pro-immigrant initiatives, and centers Black and Brown voices and stories. Friends, family, and colleagues, Juan Manuel Gálvez Ibarra.
Okay, thank you so much. First, I want to say thank you, everybody, for this opportunity. I'm here with you. And before I start to talk, I want to thank you, all the people they have been with me for all this journey in Iowa. And I am so happy to have this opportunity. And to me all the time. And I think for me, the most important today is that I want to remind it's just not to have these opportunities. It's not just a celebration for me as a person, but this is a celebration as a community. And also it's an opportunity to remember still we have many things to do in Iowa, because when they mention my name, they're talking about human rights. And when we talk about human rights in Iowa, I think that it's important to remember many people before us, before me, they have been working so hard in Iowa, and still we are doing so many things, but we have to remember we have to do many things for the next generations to come. And I think it's important that our voices, they are not silent, that it's important that we understand we are just a piece and a portion in the history of Iowa. But it's important, our voice always is here, that we are part of Iowa, while we are here doing many things because we love this country, because we love Iowa, and because we want the best for everybody. When we say that, we are not talking just about Latinos, we are talking about everybody in Iowa. So I would say that for me, that has been an honor to receive this award. And it's a compromise, not about what I had done in the past, but it's a compromise about the future, to keep talking and to keep moving and to keep elevating voices. Sometimes they're in silence, as I said many times. Sometimes these people they cannot talk. We need to talk, especially in these times in Iowa, when our voices, sometimes people in the government, they say we are not welcome. We need to say, yes, this is our home, this is our house. And again, we had a right to be in Iowa. We had a right to be in America. We had a right to, in this case, to dream a better future for our families, for our communities. And we need to keep fighting for a better future for everybody in Iowa, in our homes, in our communities. And thank you so much. I want to just say thank you to my family. Thank you to Elizabeth and John, because they are the strongest part in in my person, and the strongest motivation always to know everything we are doing is for the next generation. And obviously my son is one of them, and my wife Elizabeth too. So thank you so much, everybody. Thank you for the commission for giving us this opportunity. And thank you again, everybody. Thank you.
Congratulations to everyone. It's always so amazing to hear about what everyone is doing and what all of you are doing. I'm always in awe of our communities and how resilient and how we bring everyone together with us when we go anywhere. Next, I would like to introduce Juan, the Director of the Iowa Department of Human Rights, for a few words.
Thank you, Sonia. Good morning, everybody. It's been such an inspiring morning. I very much want to thank each and every one of you, starting with our commissioners, Caleb, for your leadership of this commission, to our guests from Omaha, from El Salvador. We're so grateful to have all of you here joining us in this celebration of the accomplishments of Latinos in Iowa. You know, some of our work has always been a little bit dark and a little bit heavy because of the populations that we serve and some of the issues that we all deal with, all of you here included. And it's wonderful to just take a little bit of time to just, you know, take a pause and acknowledge all of the wonderful work that's being done. Our young people in particular, we are so inspired by you, and it gives us such great hope, and you replenish our wells as we deal with all the issues of the day. One of the things last year was the celebration of the 19th Amendment, which gave women the right to vote. It was the 100th anniversary, and the tagline in Iowa, which has been adopted throughout the nation, is hard won, not done, right? There are a lot of great accomplishments that have been made, but the work is not done. We continue. We thank you for all of the things that you do that helps me, helps Sonia soldier on. So thank you very much. It's been a wonderful morning.
Thank you, Sai. And again, I just would like to congratulate everyone on our communities so well. I would also like to thank the individuals who participated in the selections committee. We had 3 public members, Gabriela Rivera, who is the 2020 honoree from Iowa City also, David Suarez, he's a community member from Ottumwa, Vanessa Santos Nila, who is a community member from Des Moines, and we had 2 commissioners who participated in the selection committee, Dalila Sahadian, who is from Mason City, and Caleb Canuzzo as an ex officio. And so I would like to thank you for volunteering your time to help us select this amazing group of individuals. And I hope that everyone is inspired by what everyone is doing, and that you know that the sky is the limit for all of us. And thank you for all you do for our communities. And thank you to the family and friends and community members who have tuned in to watch today's ceremony. I know that it's a little bit harder to do it virtually because, you know, of everything